Hello, and how are you today? I hope you're doing well. I Northern Indiana, extreme northern Indiana, has been getting dumped on with snow. That's why I'm shooting again in the shed today. The other day we got a winter storm, 10 inches of snow, and then last night we got another 3 or 4 inches of snow. So I'm definitely not ready for this. It is winter, but it's starting a little too early for me. But on that snowy day, I was sitting on the couch and I was watching some videos on YouTube. And I was listening to this gentleman talking about being an introvert. And my wife, of course, was sitting there and she was listening and she looked over at me and she said, Tim, that's definitely you by definition. And I go, yeah, it is. And I guess I've always known that I'm an introvert. And if you don't know what an introvert is, it is someone who chooses not to be in social situations. They prefer to do things, kind of in a solitude environment, I guess. Just kind of be left alone and do their own thing. That's where we're the happiest. And, looking back, it really made me start thinking about these things. And, even though I've known I never thought much about it. I just knew what I liked and what I didn't like. Going back, when I was in high school, I went to parties. I think it was mainly the draw for girls. The girls were there. But, back then, even though there were times where there's football games and all that stuff going on, a lot of social events. There was a friend of mine and we would go back fishing all night long back on this little natural lake behind me. And those were actually some of my best memories. I know a lot of people were probably thinking, you need to get out, enjoy your youth, and go to that football game, go to that dance. I just didn't want to. I was so much happier just kind of back there one on one with my friend. We'd go spear fishing and we did a lot of different types of fishing at night. In fact, one night is a fun little story. One night we were back there spearfishing, I think, and we had a case of beer with us, and we were about 16 years old. We knew we'd get in trouble if we were caught. Sure enough, a conservation officer came back to the ramp back there, and we were on the other side of the lake, and we did not want to get in trouble. And there was this clump of grass. The banks. There were no banks you could get off of. It was all marsh, and it went down 6, 8 feet. You'd just go right in the water. But there was this clump of grass. It was about 3 feet in diameter. And our brilliant idea was to put me on that chunk of grass with that case of beer while he went back to the ramp and talked to this conservation officer. Well, I'm sitting there. It was pitch dark, and of course, I knew right then that I had probably seen too many scary movies because I was waiting for hands to come out of the water and grab my ankles and pull me into the dark abyss. But that was a lot of fun. Of course, he came back and got me. But anyways, I've just been thinking a lot here lately about being an introvert. And, it kind of it got me thinking. I think when I was working, my working career, I was forced to interact with people, and I did okay with that. And we made some friends even. I met some very nice people at the restaurant. But we had a lot of people that invited my wife and I to come on over. We'll go over. We'll go out on the boat, and the thoughts of spending all day floating around on the boat might sound really good to some people, but it sounded horrible to me. It's not that I didn't like the people. It's just I had other things I'd rather do. I would have rather, I had a yard to mow. There's just a lot of things that I would have rather done. But, after I retired, And I didn't have to be one-on-one with a lot of these people, and even strangers. I maybe I've gotten even more to be an introvert, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. It's I just don't like to go out in social situations. And, I look back and I even wondered, is this genetic at all? Could this be hereditary? And I look at my parents, and they really weren't introverts. They went out and did social things. They had larger groups of friends, I think. But then I look at my grandparents, and of course, the grandfather I always talk about on this channel, he was a full-blown introvert. I mean, he had his farm. He didn't go on vacations. He didn't like it. He didn't even like to really go to family gatherings, but he was a very nice grandfather. But he just didn't like that social aspect. Um, and I get it. Now, my two boys are full blown. They're introverts. My oldest, he does not go out and do anything. He's been to a few concerts, I think. He's done that. He has one friend, and that's who he's had pretty much his whole life. And then my youngest son, he doesn't really go out. He has a small group of boys, guys that he goes out with, and they don't do social really. They're very tight. And oh my gosh, these boys grew up at the house. I mean, I even kind of thought of them as my own children. They were over so much. So I watch these boys grow up, and there's like, let's see, there's 5 or 6 of them, and it never changes. And they just do things together. And what they like to do is they like to go camping or fishing, or they'll come over and they'll just have a campfire. And that is their social thing, is just that little group. And I really understand that. I guess my problem is that society looks down on us introverts. And I'm sure I'm talking to more than a few of you. I bet there's a lot of people that can relate to this. Society wants us to be social. They want us to go out and make friends and do all that. And people sometimes look down on us, like that guy, there's something wrong with him. Why doesn't he want to go out? And maybe he's a grumpy old man, and that's not the case at all. Having friends, I have a small group of friends, and I've got just 1 or 2 friends from I grew up with in high school. I think as an introvert, your group of friends is very small, but they are very, very genuine people. All of my friends, very genuine. You know, I would bet my life that they would be there for me, and they would, and that's really important. I don't have the need to go out and look for new friends. I don't want to do that. And that kind of brings me to, if you're married, and if you're married and you're an introvert and your spouse is a social butterfly like my wife is, it really can work out fine. I don't think there's any friction as long as they understand who you are. And my wife has no problem. She goes out. She just went out and had a little Thanksgiving party with her friends, lady friends, the wait staff that used to work for us. Went up there, and that was great. And I stayed home and did my thing, because they do more of a girls' night out type of thing. But they go different places, and they have dinners and things like that, and that's great. I think once, when we first got married, I think one time she goes, "Let's go out and go dancing." And I told her, "Man, I do not dance. It's not pretty. Nobody wants to see that. I just don't like it. I don't want to do that." And she understood. Now, me saying that, my wife is my best friend, and I love spending time with her. And we do go out. I talked about, selling things on eBay, and how we love to go to yard sales, garage sales, and things like that. Um, it For an introvert, it's a little different because we're not really one on one with a lot of people. We're there kind of by ourselves. We're surrounded by people, but we're not having to interact with people. And I like that. My grandfather was the same way. He was a farmer his whole life, and then as he got older, he started selling these hubcaps. So he loved to go to auctions and markets and things like that, where he could get these hubcaps. And he had one friend that was a really good friend of his, and he loved to go and see him at these auctions. But other than that, he didn't really have many other friends. And when people would come to buy hubcaps, he would turn it on, and turn on the charm and he was very personable. But that doesn't mean he wanted to be around, and around a lot of people in a social setting. And that's exactly how I am. Now, being an introvert, it's not a condition. It is, I like to think of it is a way of life. It's no different than being a social butterfly. And neither one should be shamed for, the social butterflies. They want to go out, they want to meet friends, they want to be with a lot of people, they want that, to be social, rubbing elbows. And then we're on the other side of everything, to where, if we have a friend, they better be a genuine friend, because we don't have time to spend any of our lives with someone that's fake and not genuine. The same with meeting and talking to people. And I'm speaking for myself, but I would imagine there's some of you the same way. Is I'm a very direct, right to the point person when I talk to somebody, and I'm not, small talk. I just can't do it. In fact, I'm not even good on the phone for very long. Um, Now, introverts, it doesn't mean that you're afraid to leave the house or you're afraid to be with people. I think, being afraid to leave your house, what is that? Agoraphobia. That's it. That's an actual condition to where you're just terrified to leave your home. And then maybe anxiety, if you're just really afraid to be around people or don't like it. But for myself and probably yourself, we choose not to. We can, and I consider myself outgoing. I will go on vacation, but I don't want to go with a bunch of people. I don't want to vacation like my wife does, but there's times that we do, go somewhere. I don't like to. I really don't like to be away from home, really, for a number of reasons. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's a lifestyle. It's just the way we're made. So don't let anyone think less of you for being who you are. I guess in conclusion of this video, um, if you ever see me at a store, say hi. I love to see you. Again, I'm a very friendly person. What you see on camera here is exactly what you would get if you found me at the store. Just don't ask me to go out with a bunch of people because I probably won't. And if you're the same way, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just the way we're made. I appreciate you watching this video. I think I've got enough time. I'm going to list some more things on eBay. I've had a few people actually comment they'd like to know more about what I'm doing with that. And I'm kind of getting my legs a little bit better with the whole selling and shipping thing. So maybe I'll make an upcoming video about that and talk about how this channel is doing. I really appreciate all of you. The channel keeps growing. hopefully we'll keep up the momentum here. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and till next time.